Hey, everybody. Today we're talking about social selling. This is a term that maybe you have heard before and you're like, what does that even mean? Or maybe you haven't heard about it, but it's something that a lot of people are talking about, and I want to make sure you understand exactly what it means. So stick around.
You're listening to Marketing Tips with Meliss podcast.
Welcome to Marketing Tips with Meliss podcast. And now your host, Meliss Jakubovic.
So social selling has been around for a really long time. It's basically a way to avoid the cold calling, the cold emailing, the cold DMing. Basically, you're leveraging your social media channel as a way to connect with prospects and develop a connection with them. This means that you need to hang out where they're hanging out, you need to get in front of them, you need to engage with them, and you need to build relationships. Essentially, it's everything I've been teaching all along, but now it just has a fancy name. So social selling has an index, and that's called the SSI, the Social Selling Index. And there are 4 primary markers into what allows you to see if you are social selling in a good way or in a spammy way. And social selling in general means that you are not being spammy. So you want to make sure that you fit into these 4 markers so that you can identify if you're doing a good job or not with nurturing people online and, of course, moving into a sale eventually. So the first is that you need to establish a professional brand with a well-managed and optimized profile. This is going to look different depending on which platform we are talking about. And you've heard me say it many times before in my other podcast episodes or in any of my videos that you want to make sure you're on one platform and you're doing it really, really well before you expand to another platform. So whatever that platform is, make sure that it's really optimized. Make sure that it says that you are an expert in your field and you're showcasing that. It looks very professional with your brand and well managed, as in you're there all the time, you're consistent, you're connecting with people. So that profile just looks really, really good. The next thing is you need to find the right people on your platform of choice. So your platform of choice needs to be 2 things. Number 1, where your target market is hanging out. And number 2, where you feel most comfortable. So I don't want you to feel uncomfortable on your platform because then you're not going to use it as often. You're going to feel, uncomfortable in all the actions that you're taking. You might not know where to click. You might not know how to connect. So I like to think of your social media platform as your home base. This is your home. How would you act in your home? You know if you're going to take your shoes off when you walk in the door. You know if you're going to put your shoes on the table or not. Everybody has different rules in their home, right? I have some crazy rules too, like you don't use your day clothes that you've been out and about in the street in your bed. You can lay on top of the bed, but you're not going to get under the covers. So every house has different rules. Maybe you have a coffee mug and you can set it anywhere you want in your house, or maybe it must go on a coffee holder, a coaster. So every house has their own set of rules. Your social media platform has to be your home. You feel comfortable there. You know this set of rules. You like hanging out there. It feels comfortable. Now you go over to your friend's house or maybe an acquaintance's house and you're not really sure of the culture yet. You don't know the environment yet. You don't know, do they require you to take your shoes off before you walk in the door? Do they require you to there's certain friends of mine where you would never put a pocketbook, a purse on a table because it sometimes goes on the floor. Why would you put it on a table? There's all these different rules. So that's like your friend's house or your acquaintance's house. You kind of know what it is. You know it's a house, but you don't know all the rules. You feel a little bit uncomfortable. So I don't want your main social media platform to be your friend's house. I want you to feel comfortable in your own space. So pick which platform you feel the best on. And then secondary to that, you want to make sure that your target market is there. Now, if your home base has none of your target market there, then you either need to switch your target market or you need to learn another platform and get really, really comfortable with it. So when I say find the right people on your platform of choice, make sure you're comfortable in that platform and you also know that they're hanging out there and that you know where to find those people within the platform. Number 3 is you need to share relevant, inspiring content that sparks conversation. So make sure your content is really providing the value and positioning you as an expert and educating and entertaining and allowing for that engagement so that you can start having those conversations. That's really, really important. And the 4th marker is building and strengthening relationships over time. If you're not building relationships, no one's going to buy from you. Because people buy from the people that they know, they like to be around, and they really trust them. And that consistency piece is what builds the trust. So that's why I say over time. You can't just build and strengthen relationships once. You have to do it again and again and again. This is the same offline, really. If you were to go to an offline networking event and you showed up one time and you introduced yourself and there were 50 people there and you didn't come back for 6 months, chances are when you come back 6 months later, most people won't remember you. They won't recognize you and they won't even know if you've been there before. But if you were to come back week after week after week after week, they're going to get to know you, you're going to build relationships, and they're going to build trust because it's happening over time. So number 4 marker is building and strengthening relationships over time. Introducing the Spiritual Entrepreneur's Affirmation Deck. This is for you when you are ready to step into your full presence and power in business and life. This deck is beautifully crafted and designed to keep your daily actions in alignment with your purpose. Help heal the world and use your gifts to their fullest potential to make a big impact in other people's lives while making a living doing it. Get your Spiritual Entrepreneur's Affirmation Deck right now exclusively at melissmarketing.com/shop. When it comes to social selling, you have to do things. What does that actually mean? Well, first, you need to build your credibility. How are you credible? Why should we listen to you? What do you have to offer to us that makes us feel like you know what you're talking about? You have to be able to grow your network. So you can't just be a person of one. This is social media. It means that you have to be social and you have to be on the inside of a network. So pick a network, pick a community. Just like if you are offline and you move to a new state or a new country or new city and you knew nobody, what is the first thing you need to do? You need to plug yourself into a community. Maybe it's a religious community. Maybe it's a hobby that you have. You'll plug into that community. Maybe you have a dog and you go to the dog park and now you've got the dog walkers community, the dog park community. You want to plug yourself into a community because that's the first way you're going to grow your network. Now, kids have an easier time with this because they go to school and now they're part of the school community. But as adults or business owners, you have to work a little bit harder for that. So you have to find your community and grow your network from there. Then you need to engage with others. Now on social media, that can be with hashtags, that can be within a group. So you want to put yourself in front of those people. You'll search for relevant hashtags. You'll see who else has those hashtags. You'll connect with them. Or you'll get into Facebook groups that are relevant to the community that you want to be a part of, that you know your target market is a part of, and you'll engage there. So you engage with others either by hashtags or by groups. And if you're on LinkedIn, you could also do that in the Sales Navigator. Now remember, you have to provide value first. Value comes before anything else because when you are providing value, you're leading with service. You're showing that you care and that you have a know-how and a skill set that you want to help other people with. And people are attracted to that. So if you give, people automatically have this law of reciprocity that kicks in and say, wow, I need to give back, or I need to engage, or I need to have something from my end coming towards your end. When you give value, something from your end is going towards their end, and they automatically want to reciprocate that. And then you need to build relationships, and you need to be a good listener. So yes, you can be effective in building your relationships. You can be efficient in building your relationships. You can have a strategy around building your relationships, but you have to be a good listener. You have to be able to stop talking and actually listen. You have to be able to ask good questions that allows people to want to speak. And you have to understand what they're saying. So actively listen. Maybe you take notes. Maybe you ask follow-up questions so that they know that you care. And then you actually remember what you're having a conversation about when it comes back to them, when you come back to them, later on. Okay, so the other way to build relationships is to start off by not being a creeper, but by letting them know how you connected with them. Like, oh, I saw you in this group, or I liked some of your content, or your profile really interested me. Or we both have a pet dog named Fred, so I had to reach out. You just want to find that me too factor or let them know why you're connecting with them. And then, of course, that consistency piece comes in again. That consistency over time creates these lasting results. So don't forget to follow up. Don't forget to keep doing this. If you have no leads in your pipeline and you're not making any sales, it's usually because you haven't been doing the marketing over the last 90 days. And you're feeling that now. You're feeling the fallout of that now. So if you don't have clients now, you haven't been doing this for the last 90 days. So social selling is a great way to keep coming back every single day. And if you actually hear this podcast episode and then do this every day for 90 days, you're going to have 90 days from now a full engaged audience that's ready to take the next step with you. So that's why that consistency piece really plays a big part, because if you're only doing social selling on Mondays or once in a while or when you remember, then you're not going to have that consistency piece where the floodgates open up for you. So another thing you have to do is keep track of these conversations that you're having so that nobody falls through the cracks. Because again, if you are consistent and you're growing your network with lots of people, but then you don't keep track, you don't have a way of coming back. You don't have a way of following up. You don't have a way of remembering what happened and who's ready to take those next steps with you. So keep track of everything. It's really important to keep track of everything in your business, but especially when you're social selling. So I hope this helps, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Tips with Meliss podcast at www.marketingtipswithmeliss.com.
Oh, wait, before you go, I've got a super special invitation for you, so listen up. Join thousands of spiritual women, entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, and business owners in a cozy community to learn effective and aligned strategies to grow and scale your business through organic marketing and so much more. And for a limited time, when you join my free community, you will also get a free copy of my book, Abundance of Aligned Clients and Consistent Income. Join the Spiritual Women Entrepreneurs community at spiritualwomenentrepreneurs.com to claim all your free gifts. See you on the inside.